Well, tonight, New York remembering the legacy of a longtime politician and an institution in many ways, former State Senator Basil Paterson. Paterson, the father of former New York Governor David Paterson, he died at Mount Sinai Hospital Wednesday evening. His death comes just 11 days short of his 88th birthday. Paterson was also Deputy New York City Mayor and the first black Secretary of State. He was also a part of the so-called Gang of Four, including former Mayor David Dinkins, Congressman Charlie Rangel, and former Manhattan Borough President Percy Sutton. His family says Paterson was known throughout the community as a man of action who accomplished his goals. Dominic, you not only covered him, you knew the man.
I've known Mr. Paterson for close to 30 years. And the most important tribute I can pay to him is that he was the most unassuming guy that you could ever meet. He never walked around, yes, he was one of the Gang of Four in Harlem, but he never walked around and said, "Do you know who I am?" He would literally walk the streets of the community. And most people knew him, but he was just the type of guy that was really great. And I know a lot of people say that about people when they're deceased, but I'm telling you, he was the real deal. When his son was the governor, he didn't walk around and say, "Do you know who my son is?" He never once did he say that. When me and Governor Paterson were feuding terribly, and it was played out in the tabloids when he said something about me that I didn't really like, I won't go into it right now, Mr. Paterson, I was worried about whether it would impact the relationship with his father. He talked to me almost like he was an advisor, even though I was feuding with his son, the governor, at that time. Great, great man, great, great loss for the community.
We just showed a photo of the so-called Gang of Four here. Talk about how really they changed the dynamic, and it was the first time here you had that concentration of black leadership, and it went beyond Harlem.
That's right, Richard. You are 1,000% on correct here. They took over basically from Adam Clayton Powell, and they came into the Democratic Party and debonair and good-looking and so on, and very articulate. They got somebody in trouble when they referred to the president as very articulate. But the type that they opened a lot of doors for people, but they also had their share of critics.
Yeah.
You had a new generation of leaders that's coming up now, like Mr. Espaillat, that have said these guys have outworn their welcome, and that the community, the Harlem community, has suffered. So when you look at Harlem today, there are some that say give the Gang of Four credit. There are others that say it's mostly because Mr. Clinton moved his office into the Harlem community. So they're all legends, and I just can't believe that they're all old men now. I know Mayor Dinkins will get upset with that, but I think Mayor Dinkins is, what, 88 years old, basically? But Basil Paterson...
Charlie Rangel, this will be, if elected, his final term, and it's very possible he may not even make it out of the primary, but a
new
chapter
generation.
in many ways.
Yes, yes, Richard.
All right, now to new developments in that stock market flash trading probe launched by New York Attorney General Eric Schneiderman. 6 firms accused of specializing in high-speed trading. They're being subpoenaed. Tower Research Capital, headquartered in New York City, among the firms being investigated. Now, high-speed trading, it gives some firms unfair advantages if they have things like extra computer network bandwidth, fast connection cables, high-speed switches, all connecting to their computer servers. Now, traders can place their servers inside those venues, and all this wiring, it'll give them that millisecond timing advantage that will leave all of the rest of us and the other traders behind. Now, best-selling author Michael Lewis, he helped bring the cheating practice to light in his book, Flash Boys.
The stock market's rigged. The United States stock market.
Who are the victims?
Everybody who has an investment in the stock market.
I saw that 60 Minutes piece. I've got the book. I haven't gone through it yet here, but amazing. And the significance. Were you surprised here that the AG's moving on this? I mean, it seems tailor-made for the New York Attorney General.
Well, it is, and that's why we have the Martin Act and other kinds of laws that deal with this in New York, and he should. And the
Some
intersection
people said,
of
why did it take a book to do this? Because this has been an open secret for a while.
Well, I don't know what open secrets are anymore. The impact of technology on all of us are not just our use of phones and television and tablets. Smart people can use that new technology to create advantages for themselves, which the law should not and does not permit. And the Attorney General's doing the right thing by looking at it.
I'm happy that the Attorney General is investigating, but I still shake my head at this whole thing because rather than a prosecutor, This needed a regulator. This needed a more beefed up SEC. This needed people who are supposed to be minding the store in Wall Street who saw this happening and got ahead of it and stopped it from happening in the first place. How many billions of dollars have already gone incorrectly to the wrong hands because this thing wasn't regulated, because we still haven't put any teeth in Wall Street
Blame the
regulation.
Republicans. They don't want to regulate anything.
I'm an independent, but this is a fascinating thing. This high frequency trading, because you have a lot of really smart guys that are computer geeks that have found a way to be able to trade faster than you or I could by going to our Scottrade account. From it being illegal, I don't think we've gotten to that point.
And there's a debate. It's even Lewis points out and others that there actually may be, because the law hasn't kept up the technology. But here's where I differ. And I've heard some argue, hey, listen, we just built a better mousetrap. Why punish intrepid thinking? To me, that's a crock, because what they're doing is they're not using any intellectual capital because they're better investors and they're getting ahead of something. They're taking my trade or somebody's trade. I'm making the trade. As I'm ordering it, they're seeing what I'm doing. They're getting ahead of me, so they're purchasing the same trade here, driving up the price. So something that I thought I was buying for $19, I'm now buying for $19.10, and they're making that margin. That's not intellectual capital. That's theft.
Yeah, but I understand from the standpoint. I understand your point being a trader and being upset by the fact that that person got there before you, but that's a free market.
But they're taking
economy.
my
But
trade.
I would caution the Attorney General and others that are going after these guys to take a look at also other hedge funds that are also using algorithms. And many of these hedge fund guys are very wealthy on Wall Street and contribute to a lot of these political campaigns. That you should take a look at how they're also
I got to
doing
get the next
it
question.
as well.
I know you want to say something, but anybody want to bet at the table? Nobody's going to go to jail.
As always,
Nobody's
the
going to
real
jail.
corruption is legal. A wise man said that some time ago.
Yes. He also came up with progractionary.
Yeah, I did.
Now, former New York State Lieutenant Governor Richard Ravitch, good friend of Richard's, believe me, he actually likes him, preparing to release a new memoir which chronicles his work in government. The book, titled So Much to Do, A Full Life of Business, Politics, and Confronting Fiscal Crises. It's coming out on April 29th. It takes a look at both his career, which spans over 5 decades, but there is a notable a couple items in the book that have already been released here, and that specifically deals with this governor when he was the Attorney General. He basically says, in no uncertain terms, that Cuomo, with Larry Schwartz, another person we know here from then in Westchester County, undermined Governor Paterson.
The book says that.
Yes.
But the book says that in about 2 pages. And I had dinner with Dick last night, and he is livid that you people in the press
By the way, you're in the media too, but go ahead. Yeah.
are focusing on that as what the book is about. The book is a hymn to public service.
Okay,
The-
wait.
No, I'm not going to let you
How
do this.
about that? Oh, well, fine. We tried to interview, by the way. We had an interview with Mr. Ravitch. We would have talked about all of that, but I know he's on his way to Detroit, and he's got an important job to do over there, potentially. But I'm coming back to the issue. You were in Albany at the time.
Yeah.
Was this an open secret?
Yeah.
That it was.
Okay. Now, as I was saying, the notion, the stories that are in this book about the fiscal crisis, about what makes government work, about where it fails, about what's good and what's bad, are well beyond.
Yeah.
Thank you. Are well beyond the scandal and the controversy about particular administrations, particular decisions. If you think government matters and politics matter, read the book.
Well, if anybody knows, he's a giant in New York political history. I mean, for the New York drop dead, it was Ravitch who helped, in large part here, navigate us through bankruptcy almost. So I guess I come back to the question. Do you pin this more, is this shame more on Governor Paterson to let himself get manipulated from within, from, with Larry Schwartz there and the Attorney General? I mean, think about how the roles reversed. Cuomo doesn't let Schneiderman even near a microphone now. Imagine, now we flip the roles here, that the Attorney General basically is playing the governor. I mean, I don't know if I'm more disappointed in Governor Paterson that he tolerated, or Governor Cuomo that he was such a weasel when he did this.
I think Cuomo learned from Lyndon Johnson. It's all about leverage in politics. And, he's able to get what he wants through leverage. That's no different than any Democrat or Republican governor before him. So I don't look at that and say to myself, what he did was something different, or he blazed a different trail. He was looking out for his political interests, which every politician, now that you're retired, I can say this, I'm doing.
2 points. There's a reason why David Paterson was called the accidental governor. Not to rehash the baggage, but let's not forget what he did the first day he was sworn in. which rocket scientist told him that you should admit to an affair on the first day that you're sworn in as governor?
What was
that's,
the correct
that's,
day?
that's point number one. Point number two is it points at Andrew Cuomo's personality. Remember, that same personality almost destroyed Mr. Cuomo when he decided that he was the knight coming in and he was going to challenge Carl McCall for the Democratic nomination for governor, and the Democrats smacked him on his hand and it almost ruined his career.
Dick Ravitch's book is a great read, in spite of your insistence on
Right,
focusing
but
on the
Dick
scandal.
wants to-
Don't you love Andrew when he always plays that he's above the
He's always a
the
professor.
fray? Oh, he's above the fray.
It's always Professor
with
Brodsky.
you people. Yeah.
But it worked
Yeah, well,
because
let's
we're
go
talking
off
about
camera.
this.
Let's settle this.
Yeah, there you go. Highfalutin. All right, coming up next, Greed Incorporated. Some of America's biggest companies taking unbelievable steps to make sure you can't touch them. You gotta hear this story. Even if they do something completely wrong, terrible to you, they're indemnifying themselves. We're going to talk about that. Andrew came up with this story this morning here. Fascinating. We'll get into that after this.